UFC 307, Salt Lake City, Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. This is a hell of a fight. It's going to be a striking battle, and it's a very interesting fight. Alex Pereira is the best striker in MMA today. His kickboxing resume is unmatched, and what he's been doing to some of MMA's top strikers has shown for so he's knocking people out, knocking people out left and right for a very long time. So, yeah, man, Khalil Rountree is a brutal, ruthless fighter. The way he fights is like you stole something from him. The way he fights is like he's fighting for his life, and he hates you, And it's an entertaining fighting style, the way he's kicking people on the ground. So this fight is going to be fireworks. It's going to be fireworks, and it's probably going to be one of the best fights of the year, in my opinion. So, real quick, we're just going to look at this.
Like, I have no intentions on shooting any takedowns or like trying to take what people would consider the easy route, Like, I'm here to honestly, like, I want to put on a fight to remember.
Yeah. So this fight should be crazy. Khalil Rountree, I listened to him on Joe Rogan's podcast. I like to understand who the fighter is before I put money on them and stuff like that. Khalil Rountree, he has a very interesting story. So he used to be over 300 pounds. Nowadays, he's jacked. He's a great fighter. He's in shape. He's a sensitive guy. His dad was murdered. His dad was murdered. His dad was in the music industry and he was a manager in the music industry. So he got robbed and he got shot. So Khalil Rountree, and his dad was actually a manager for top bands and top acts like Jodeci and some big R&B groups back in the day, Boyz II Men, stuff like that. So it's very interesting to see. But he made his whole come up on The Ultimate Fighter. He basically essentially has fought his entire career in the UFC, and he's made leaps and bounds, and he's really cut the corner on his whole career. He's also knocked out Gokhan Saki, who was an incredible high-level kickboxer. So he has no fear of someone who has a very high-level kickboxing pedigree. He's saying he's not going to go in there and try to wrestle Alex Pereira. We'll see. I think that's a foolish mistake because this is mixed martial arts. You should be using everything that you have in this fight because I guarantee you Alex Pereira is going to go in there and take you down. You know what I'm saying? He's not just going to go in there and strike with you. If you've seen Alex Pereira, what he's been working on, he's been working on judo. He's been working on every aspect of his game, trying to become a complete fighter. He's not just relying on his striking ability, which we've seen like with people like Ronda Rousey, who never evolved her game. Ronda Rousey was a top judoka in MMA, but she never evolved her game, so everybody caught up to her. Alex Pereira isn't making that same mistake. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's working his judo. He's consistently and constantly getting better. If you see his Instagram, he's just always training, right? So it's like, man, if you're going to go in there and you're going to say that you're only going to strike with Alex Pereira, who is the best kickboxer in MMA, I think it's a foolish mistake. This is mixed martial arts. Use everything you have. You don't need to be the best kickboxer. You don't need to be the best boxer. You don't need to be the best wrestler. You don't need to be the best jiu-jitsu guy. You just need to be able to mix it up and strategize. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm going with Alex Pereira in this fight, because Alex Pereira, I think he's going to show many facets of his game, and I think he's just on a different level and a different stratosphere of striking. But not only is he just a good striker and a great athlete, his work ethic and his desire to get better in the fight game and just continuously fighting back-to-back fights, that's a dangerous man. He got knocked out by Adzoh. He didn't miss a beat. He didn't skip a beat. He got right back in the ring. He's a dangerous guy, and he's a guy who loves to fight, and he's a guy who just loves the game, and he's an inspiring fighter. He really, really is. I think every fighter can learn from Alex Pereira, and the main thing is just his activity level. I think that's what makes him so great. Is he's a sponge. in his first MMA fight, he fought someone who was a black belt and he almost submitted him. You know, he has an X factor, same way Francis Ngannou has an X factor. Alex Pereira's X factor, I believe, is his passion for fighting. And he obviously is a freak athlete, but his passion for fighting and his desire to get better and his desire to become a great fighter is something that you can see and it's intangible, you know. And Khalil Rountree has the same thing, but I believe Khalil Rountree isn't evolving his game enough the same way Alex Pereira is. Alex Pereira already has leaps and bounds against everybody in the striking category. He hasn't been in any trouble in any striking fights in the UFC. Even when he lost to Adesanya, he got knocked out. He was piecing Adesanya up before that. So, and the way he knocks people out, they're out. You know what I'm saying? The way he knocked out Yuri Prohaska, a guy who, you know, just goes in there and takes people's souls. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going with Alex Pereira. I think, you know, something that's interesting for this fight is the elevation, you know, is going to be interesting. Alex Pereira is 37 years old, 11 and 1, I believe, 11 and 2. And Khalil Rountree has a similar record. Khalil Rountree is 14 and 5, and he's 34 years old. So this is a light heavyweight fight. So being in your 30s, in your late 30s, mid 30s doesn't matter. Glover Teixeira won the belt at 45. You know, as a bigger guys, the game, you don't really hit your prime until later on as a bigger guy. You know, you can go a lot longer, you know, as we see in heavyweight, you know. So I think the way the fight is going to go is we're probably going to see Alex Pereira come out with his striking, of course. I think he will get a takedown in this fight. But furthermore, I think if Khalil Rountree comes at Alex Pereira with that aggressive style, he's going to get knocked out. Alex Pereira is way too skilled and way too dangerous to be super aggressive towards him like that. I think if Khalil comes out with his aggressive style, he will get knocked out with the left hook, you know. And either way, it's going to be a spectacular fight. I don't think there's any way this is a boring fight. This fight is a fight that's a must-win for Khalil. You know, Khalil kind of skipped the line a bit. You know, he kind of skipped the line and got the opportunity to fight for the belt. I think it's a great matchup. I think the fight makes sense, you know, but we have guys like Ankalaev waiting in the wood, right? Raiding the woodworks, you know. We have you know, if Alexander Rakic can come back and win a couple of fights, we got guys like that waiting, you know. We got Jamal Hill waiting. You know, we got some good fighters that are waiting for it to fight Alex Pereira. So Khalil kind of jumped the line, and he jumped the line because he has an exciting style, and UFC wants to put on exciting fights. You can say whatever you want about UFC, like, you know, they price out their fans, you know, power slap is trash, blah, blah, blah. But one thing they do right is they know how to put on incredible fights that are timeless and people are going to love to watch. There's fights that I go back and watch from 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Roger Huerta and Clay Guida, way back in the day. Incredible fight, though. You know what I'm saying? UFC has incredible matchmaking, and they know how to put on incredible fights and have the right guys who will match up and just put on incredible fights. Diego Sanchez and Gilbert Melendez comes to mind. You know, Eddie Alvarez versus Gilbert Melendez. I believe they had an incredible fight. There's so many fights that are just great. Like, I'm just going through, you know, Matt Hughes, Frank Trigg, great fight. You know, I'm just going Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen the first time. There, John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson, won, right? UFC knows how to put on good fights. And I believe this is going to be another one of those timeless fights, you know. And there's just so many good fights that it's kind of hard to even put a category like, oh, this is the best fight of all time. This is because there's constantly great fights. Right now, I'm really, you know, inspired by that Roger Huerta versus Clay Guida fight. You know, if you've never seen that fight, it's actually free on YouTube. If you've never seen it, go and watch that fight. It's just an incredible fight. You know, the heart that Roger showed in that fight to come out and get the win. You know, so I believe you never know what's going to happen in a fight. If Khalil Rountree somehow is able to beat Alex Pereira, that would be an extreme shocker, but that would be incredible. That'd be an incredible story. Khalil Rountree, overweight, depressed kid, you know, his dad, you know, got murdered, you know, and he loses all the weight, becomes a fighter, still feels like the guy who's 300 plus pounds and knocks out the most ruthless, vicious fighter that we've seen in a long time. That would be an incredible story, but I just don't really see it happening. And I like Khalil Rountree, but I don't see it happening. You know, they have Alex Pereira is also training with Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland used to train with Khalil Rountree, so maybe he'll give him some tips on some of the things that he does in the fights or in training. But I think Alex Pereira versus Khalil is going to be a hell of a fight, and the whole fight card looks pretty good. We also have. Oh wait, so before that, let's go back and watch a little bit more of this video.
You know, like, because for me, this is something like this is a fight that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And this is a moment in my story that I'm going to remember. So I want to do the same thing and deliver the same thing for the fans. I want this to be one of those fights where, you know, people talk about for, you know, for years to come.
At the end of the day, it would seem as though his path to victory is to knock Pereira out. That's not easy to do. He said the other day to the Schmo, I've never shot for a takedown in my career. I don't intend to do it the night that I'm standing in front of Pereira.
And I think that that's a foolish mistake. I think it's a foolish mistake, you know, honestly. You never shot for a takedown in career, and that's great. You've been able to have a great career. But, you know, we got to understand that this is the fight game, and this is mixed martial arts. This is mixed martial arts. You have to mix it up. If you're predictable, you're easier to beat. You know, there's nothing wrong with shooting for a takedown. Don't let your ego stop you from becoming better in the sport. You know, don't let your ego stop you from getting better in this sport. Me as a grappler and a jiu-jitsu guy, if I was like, oh, striking is trash, I'm only going to do jiu-jitsu, I would be severely hindering myself. You know, no, you have to do it all. You got to learn it all. You know what I'm saying? You should be proficient in it all. And there's nothing wrong with having a good double leg takedown in your back pocket if shit goes left. That's all I'm saying. You know, and I know Alex Pereira has that because we saw him go for it on Izzy in the fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. I think that mindset is going to make Khalil lose this fight. Jose Aldo is also fighting on this card. Jose Aldo is fighting Marinho Bautista. Jose Aldo, the King of Rio, incredible fighter. We all know what's up with Jose. You know, we all know what's up with Jose. Incredible Hall of Fame fighter. He retired. He came back. I don't know why guys do that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you retire, retire. You know what I'm saying? We did this big show for you and everything. You retired. You come back, and now you're back in the game. But I'm not mad at it. You know, Jose is an incredible fighter. I love watching him fight, and I've been watching him since the WEC days, and I'm always going to be rooting for Jose Aldo. Another fight that I think is going to be incredible is Kevin Holland versus Roman Dolidze. Kevin Holland always puts on a show. And Roman Dolidze is a buzzsaw. So these guys colliding should be good. I'm going to go with my boy Kevin Holland. I think he's a great fighter. The last fight when he snapped dude's arm in half was incredible. He was getting pieced up, snapped dude's arm in half. That's what we're talking about. Jiu-jitsu black belt. Let's go. And this is in Salt Lake, so it's going to be interesting. Might see a lot of guys gas out. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hit that like button. Show some love in the comments. Let me know who you think's going to win, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.